The story I told tonight was humorous, and it was one I was dying to get out.
I had organised a truly different cultural experience for these children, one that they would never forget. Remember when nice Miss McClements organised a trip to a proper cinema and ignited within us a passion for the arts? It was all down to her.
And when you work in a school and you go through all those box-ticking exercises to say what you have to do and you think you have it all right.
I'd studied the text in university and I knew that there was a fair amount of slaughter and savagery, but I had every faith that this production, with its PG certificate, would be entirely suitable viewing for my young charges. I was wrong.
It was excruciating at the time. It was truly, truly dreadful.
In the opening scene, marauding Danes come stampeding towards an odd-looking bearded fellow and his even odder-looking young son. The son, who we come to know as Grendel, hides for his life but watches his father being thrown to his death on the rocks below. The small boy is spared, but decides he is going nowhere without his father's head as a keepsake. He clambers down the cliff and does a bit of light hacking so he can obtain his ghoulish memento. It was all very brutal and shocking. I always looked to Anne to keep me right, and I stared over, alarmed. She made a hand movement as if batting away a fly, because Anne always thought I overreacted at the best of times. Many more heads are lopped off and men disemboweled, all in graphic detail. Small girls left en masse to go to the toilet to have a good puke. I looked at Anne and she smiled in a "we're still all grand here" sort of a way. But it wasn't just the violence that was shocking. The language was also very coarse. And indeed, there was one regrettable reference to bestiality, which I prayed went straight over the heads of the first formers. It involved squirrels. Again, I looked over at Anne, and she gesticulated as much, waving her hands over her ears. But then, in a startling departure from the original text, the screenwriters decided to add a little spice. Well, an action film just isn't worth its salt without a sex scene now, is it? And as the witch, Selma, explains to Beowulf that she has a son, we get a flashback to his conception. with none other than Grendel the troll. There were no chocolates and glasses of wine. There was nothing discreet about this interchange. My year 8s were quite innocent, but they were neither blind nor stupid. There were very audible gasps and titters. I looked over at Anne. This time, there was no reassuring smile. She shrugged and lifted her palms upwards in the sort of gesture that said, "This is now in the hands of God." And please, let's pray that none of these children have parents who are high up in the DUP. Trying to avoid eye contact, I took the window seat at the front of the bus and felt its coldness beside my face. The children were in a state of high animation, although a few did stop and say, "Are you okay, miss?" which was rather sweet. The teachers walked up and down the aisle, showing them the QFT programme, where the PG rating was clearly, indeed prominently displayed. "Miss McClements would never have taken you to see that film had she known what was in it," I heard them say to reassure the kids. I can safely admit that I wasn't right for weeks afterwards. After school that day, we sojourned to a local bar where I consumed a glass of red wine the size of my head. It's not every day that children are subjected to graphic images of torture, references to bestiality, and finally, troll sex, all on your watch. Never again, said I, will I organise another bloody trip. Thank you.